Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to disappoint you a bit. I could go into technology, but I'm going into the human component rather, because I think technology has a lot of upsides and downsides that other experts will discuss as well. And when I saw their names, I thought, let's go somewhere else to create a framework. So I'd like to go to the human component in emergency population warning and protection systems. According to me, the situation looks like that. It's a pity that these systems have to deal with citizens, because they constitute a major problem in the process. And it's a pity that these systems are handled by people in governmental institutions because they're only human. So let me explain. I'll start with the citizens. Why are they a major problem? Well, first of all, they might not trust official messages, might not take them serious, might not take them sufficiently serious, or might not even recognize them as warnings. Second of all, they don't react at once. They need delay time to start acting, so-called PI or protective action initiation. Third one is general messages work less efficient than personalized messages. There's only one problem, and it's called privacy protection. So there's a problem, there's a big dichotomy over there. Then there is non-official sources, read citizens, that also spread rumors, that spread news, spread falsehoods, or even obstruct everything. Citizens are also slow to adopt to new technologies, slow to understand new technologies, and are basically lazy, because if there's a new app, they're not going to download it. Also, citizens expect interactions, not just top-down information, which is a major problem. And also, they suffer from an optimism bias, which means it's not happening to me. Somewhere else, the neighbors will have a problem, but I'm safe. So if you look at the first answer to the problem of citizens, of course, it's personalized emergency messages. You can provide personalized guidance, what to do, and personalized time until impact. And those are the two major elements of any message that you would provide. And this can help shorten the pie, so the time they need to react, which is helpful. Another thing that it can do is take different roles and characteristics that people have, like gender or age or employment status, to use different messages to get them to act more effectively. Because, for instance, if you're younger, have a higher education, employment, or being a woman, you react faster. So you can base these personalization on crowdsourced input data, like Internet of Things input or vehicle input, like it's already being done. And you can, for instance, take into account location data, medical data, household data, PI-relevant data, like age and gender, like I said, or language data. But, there's a big but. Citizen and crowdsourced input data can be used by authorities within other contexts. And this is a major one, because it means that, for instance, when we had in Holland the big disaster with an airplane crashing, until now we don't know how many people died because there were illegal people there. And if they're illegal, it means that they're registered. So this is one of the things that people were scared that they would be indexed in another framework as illegal and have consequence of that. And also, it's not clear how to automatically update all your data that you have. So once you have a database, you don't know how to update it because you need some sort of mechanism for that. And before I turn to a possible way out of it, I'd like to introduce answer number 2 to the problem of citizens, which is a community or group approach as an addition to sending general personalized messages to individuals. In other words, use social media. So social media are widely used channels during disasters. We know that from a lot of disasters happening so far. They help shorten PI because they support milling, which is seeking confirmation by others. This is really happening. And they also support reunification with intimates, which means that you can find all your children, all your pets, everyone at the same time, and then react. They also reach individuals and groups with low trust in official messages. They offer real-time interaction tools for one-off or repeat communication, and they help to overcome optimism bias. Yes, it's really happening also in your street. But it's very difficult within the enormous volume to identify the signal from the noise. So many things happening. There's a lot of fear that there is a mass scale spread of misinformation. Also, there exists the risk of increased credibility of misinformation. They support also social media decontextualization. You don't know which source it's from. Somebody just rehashing it. Also, there's a digital divide. Not everybody's using social media. And as we've seen in the States, for instance, when they started using apps to improve neighborhoods, the wealthy neighborhoods got better treatment because those are the ones who use the apps. Also, they receive message over multiple channels, and it might lead to people just opting out. We had just a stink alert in Holland, and then people got up to 10 messages over the same thing, which means that they just got fed up by getting the same message over and over again. And people expect reactions when they use social media. So the problem with citizens and the answer to these problems are profound, but is there a way out? Of course there is. If you look at personalization, a way out is, for instance, and I'm going to do it very black and white, create a database containing all personalization input data needed at the time of an emergency under very special conditions. For instance, the database needs to be standalone, separated from all the other databases by Chinese walls. The database needs to be managed on a very restricted regime, like the harshest GDPR privacy regime for companies, which means transparency, subject to citizen review, etc. If you look at social media, a way out is to create specialized channel-specific emergency population warning social media teams that function like company customer service centers. Basically what they do is they monitor, they debunk, and they communicate. But if you look at, for instance, debunking, which is very fashionable, there are two ways of doing it. You can do a real-time search, of course, of concrete elements that are relevant for the emergency and then react to that. Or you can use artificial intelligence to find out if it's false or a non-false statement that's being spread. Because there are now systems that do that, because there's different way of spreading, different patterns of spreading for false news and real news. It's only one problem. It takes you 2 hours to sort out one from the other. So if you want to sort out before, you can go preventive and look which accounts are spreading false news normally in any normal day. And you can prevent them from spreading news in case of a disaster, which is kind of a censorship, but the only thing you do is you prevent them from spreading news. Okay, we have potential ways out, but then a second problem kicks in, people in government institutions. In essence, the question is this: can these people be trusted to only apply these and other ways out that constitute major deviations from normal life in emergency situations, and not cut corners in non-emergency situations, or broaden the concept of an emergency situation to such an extent that encompasses virtually any situation, thus making the exception the rule? By trusting special powers to people in government institutions, we might end up having a centralized database that renders all citizen rights to privacy obsolete, while enabling Chinese-like social engineering systems capable of forcing citizens into obedience, which is not really what we want. If we look at the track record, if we talked about, for instance, a topic like terrorism, we should be in great doubt whether people would be ethical enough just to keep it at this straight subject. So here we have it. A major problem during emergency for emergency messages is constituted by the mass of citizens they try to warn. There are ways out of this, but they trigger the next problem: people in governmental institutions who are probably too human to deal with superhuman powers. So my conclusion is this: technology is like a superpower to protect a vulnerable but complicated population. In every upcoming national framework, there should be a description of how mere humans who can use these superpowers can be checked and evaluated. And that would be my contribution for today.